Yep, 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 yep.
Welcome to the Finnish Football Show. My name is Rich Nelson. I'm joined today by Keke. Hi, Keke.
Hello.
And Mark Hayton. Hello, Mark.
Oi.
Producer Mark Wiltshire is unavailable. He's probably moonlighting back at Ashley again. Now, this is a special bonus episode we're doing. This is recorded the day after Finland beat Russia in the European Championships. Finland lost 1-0 after our opening win against Denmark. So, Mark, the first question is, what happened?
Well, we got done, I reckon. It was a 1-0 defeat to the Russians, the old neighbours, and it was an interesting game that had very little quality going both ways. Russia nicked it with the moment, I think, of really any. There was only one moment in the whole match that had any real quality in it, and that was the goal that they scored. Finland played well for about 45 minutes, and then they played average for about 10-15, and then I think they either ran out of steam or just got lost at the end of the second half. So right now I'm feeling pretty disappointed, because going into the game, I think me and everybody else here, I thought we all thought like we had a shot at getting at least a point from the Russians, probably even a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, Keke, we watched the game together in the pub, and that first, 4 minutes before Poyanpala had the ball in the back of the Russians' net, and yeah, it was all a little bit like Christmas had come a little bit too early for us. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, first of all, it was great for us to be together again, and yeah, settling down in a different venue this time, but still a few Finland fans dotted around. And yeah, a couple of minutes in, what was it? 4 minutes on the clock, and we were out of our seats, jumping up and down, hugging strangers, and celebrating Poyanpalo's second header in 2 games. But yeah, it wasn't long before old Vlad got on the phone to the VAR box and said you need to rule that one out. So I mean, I'm not VAR's greatest fan, but that was a bit of a sickener to take. To be honest, I think, I know the rule. It's any part of your body that you can score with is in front of the defender, then it's offside. But it just looked like it was just his nose or his fringe or whatever. You know what I mean? It was like so close. And as we said to each other in the pub there, Rich, I think that goal being disallowed really sort of stunned Finland, and it seemed to galvanise the Russians. I mean, as it came so early in the game, it really was a winding or a body blow to Finland, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting after having watched the Denmark game, and we've talked about what happened there with the Eriksson incident, so I don't think it's wise to cover that again. But the goal that came from that Finland's winner, it was a cross into the box from Jere Urunen. Poyanpalo headed it in. Yeah, Schmeichel could have done better, but it was clearly a tactic: get the ball, cross it into the box, get Poyanpalo on the end of it. 4 minutes into this game, virtually exactly the same thing. The defender gets robbed, ball into the box, and he was inches, if that, offside, eyebrow or something like that. He needs to get a haircut. But it was interesting watching, again, that, because that was what Finland were trying to do, and it was almost like Russia. It was like a shot across the nose for them to kind of think, right, this is what's going to happen. We need to be more careful. And I think having that and Finland, we've talked about this previously, looking at the Russia game as kind of the one that we could get a result from, assuming we'd have gone into it with 0 points. And it's strange how the mindset changed, and maybe having that bit of confidence and that. But I mean, Mark, we guested, and we'll talk about our various media ventures shortly, but we spoke to our Russian counterparts just before we came on here. And the words that came up that were mentioned in our WhatsApp group were game management. So, what did you think of how Russia managed the game?
Well, I mean, first off, they pressed, so they switched to a back three, and then they pushed forward. I think I'm not sure that it galvanized the Russians that disallowed goal, but it certainly woke them up. Right, they were a lot sharper in their pass, and then they kind of knew, that we were going to press them and that we were going to close them down. For that first half part, they pressed us a hell of a lot, quite deep, which actually suited us quite well because they couldn't connect passes in the early stages of the game. And whenever we were able to put our foot on the ball and then break away, their approach to game management meant basically, hacking the ankles away from Glenn Kamara or Robin Ludd, who were looking to carry the ball forward. That left us with a lot of free kicks that were sort of midway in our own half to the halfway line, but it basically just cut out all of our good counter-attacking intent. It really limited our ability to shift the ball forward. In the second half, I mean, they then turned around that when they were quite happy to kick lumps out of us in the first half. Second half, they went down, for a feather's touch. They spent most of the second half rolling around on the floor and playing for time, or bundling over our players. In general, what's the right word? Some kind of housery, that left a bad taste, I think, in the mouth.
It's difficult when you see that when Finland don't play in that way at all, and to be honest, I mean the stakes in this match are obviously far higher than any game Finland have been involved in. But it's when you look at the foul on Toivio on the wing, in the second half, that was a prime example. I mean, he had no eyes on the ball whatsoever. This absolute lump just went into him, and it's difficult when you see that Finland were missing Tim Sparv. He was dropped, and he said it was a tactical decision. There's obviously concerns around his sort of physical fitness as well, having played 75 minutes against Denmark. And Rasmus Schuller came in, did okay. I mean, in a Finland's shirt, he's maybe at club level he's giving us sort of 7s and 8s out of 10. He didn't let himself down, but I mean, perhaps the difference in what they offer in mobility, you do lose in the experience and the game intelligence that Sparv brings. And I do wonder if, I'm not going to go back in time and change it, but perhaps having that older head on the pitch, things might have played out slightly different. Keke.
I think you're right there, and what Mark also said. I mean, the second half for the Russians was all about the dark arts, and maybe it's tricky for Finland because they did have to look for a goal, for an equaliser, and maybe they. I mean, I wouldn't even call them naive. They didn't really have a choice, but they weren't naive to the dark arts. It was just the way the game sort of panned out. Every single challenge, every single touch, the Russian lads were going down and sort of clutching whatever part of their body they felt they could get away with, and staying down for a good considerable amount of time. Going back to the first half, I mean, I get the idea. The tactic is to sort of draw the opponent onto you, soak up a bit of pressure, and then try and break away. And we did that a couple of times. I mean, Pukki got away more than once and looked okay. Poor old Yoli had a couple of air shots. One where I think it was Pukki who took it off his toe. But yeah, that as it was coming up to half time, I said to Rich, I was like, I can't stand this. Like it was just like the Russians were having pop shots. I know we were sort of keeping them at bay a little bit, but for me, it's just the sort of the law of averages. If you throw the dart that many times, one of them's going to hit the ball, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? So, and it was ultimately that one little shimmy, that one little bit of quality where the chap shifted it onto the other foot, opened up a bit of space, and just sort of curled it into the net. That's given them the win at the end of the day. But yeah, the falling over in the second half did leave a bit of a frustration with us, I have to say.
In that, I think you're right. We did invite them onto us, right? Like we kept the same sort of shape and depth as we had against Denmark. And I think that the tricky thing against Russia is they were playing wing backs, and I don't think they've got anybody that's as fast as the likes of Poulsen or Braithwaite or any of the other pacey Danish forwards. We could have quite easily, and we've done it before in games, sort of stepped up that back three, higher up into the pitch to try and press the space and leave a little bit in behind, because that Dzuba guy, the fridge or whatever he is, he's not going to get a yard of pace on you. You know what I mean? I don't think we had any threat coming in from there. But they did. We did invite them onto us. We did sit a little bit, probably too deep, and it was unfortunately it was a good goal. You know what I mean? He was in half a yard of space, edge of the box, dribbling through, quick 1-2, and then he hit the postage stamp.
It's one of those things as well that after the first round of fixtures, that Lucas Radetzky was by statistically the best goalkeeper in the round. I think at one point he was the highest scoring player, but his save in the second half as well, it was a very important save after the ball was lost. And I mean, Russia probably disappointed not to score that, but I mean, Lucas has come into this in excellent form. But I mean, it's difficult to say really. I mean, had that gone in, it would have been game over. But after that, Finland made some changes. Pukki coming off was kind of the signal at the end that things were going to change, and we weren't really sure how. I mean, we were in the pub together, Keke. What did you make of it all?
Well, I think it was typical, not quite knockout football, but typical. You got to go for broke, haven't you? And I think he just tried to stick on people with a bit of pace. I mean, Lassi Lappanainen came on. We haven't seen him for a while, and he came on and sort of, I suppose the idea was to inject a bit of pace into it. I was pleased to see Puru Soiri come on. I mean, straight away, as soon as he come on, he had a bit of an impact. He's twisting and turning, a bit of close control, as well as running with the ball, a bit of pace. But ultimately, the dice throwing. I mean, well, you could say it didn't work. We didn't get the equaliser, but by the same token, we didn't sort of let them run away with it. So, it's just a little bit frustrating. I mean, I do think we do have to remember how far we have come. Like we're sitting here after 2 games with 3 points, and had you have said that a month ago, you'd have been rubbing your hands together, wouldn't you? But it's just it's just the way it panned out yesterday after the Denmark game is a bit, especially as all of us, and I think everyone else would have targeted this Russia game as the most likely fixture for us to get some points on the board. It's just a bit of a shame how it panned out. But yeah, I think he went for it. Who came on last? Was it Freddie Jensen came on last?
For Toivio.
Yeah, took Toivio off, so got rid of another defender and chucked Jensen on, and it really was sort of go for broke time at that point, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think there's a couple of things to think about as well that we all know, but we maybe don't pay enough attention to. The first one is that, this is a step up, for everybody. This is the first proper tournament, so many of them will be playing at a intensity that they have never done before in their careers. The second one is that we were playing in St. Petersburg at 4:00, which was by all accounts 28, 29 degrees, and the Russians had an extra day. So in addition to all the stuff that went on in Copenhagen, we'd been really exhausted, from all of the stuff that had happened on that Saturday night, and then we'd had to travel, whereas the Russians are at their base camp in St. Petersburg, right? So they actually, they got a nice rest day. They're in their home stadium. They're in the place. This is where Dzuba and a bunch of Miranchuk and the other guys, they play there week in, week out. So they had a home advantage. They had, extra time to sort of rest and recuperate. And this is a big step up for everybody.
Yeah, and ultimately, we're talking about playing a Russia team who are fairly regular at major tournaments. Most of those players formed the bulk of the squad who got to the quarterfinals in 2018 in the manner that they made it to the quarterfinals. Just in case our friends are listening to unaccredited media, but it's one of those things where, like you said, we all looked at this game and thought that would be the one we get points from. And ultimately, we go into the final game. And this evening, Belgium came from behind to beat Denmark 2-1, which means that we're in the world of permutations in a way that Finland, again, this is new for Finland, really. I mean, most of the permutations are quite straightforward. It's like you have to go and win in Portugal to qualify for 2008 or something like that. Beat Liechtenstein at home, happy days. It's we're in a world now where you're kind of having to assume, and that these things never really work, that the game between Belgium and Finland kicks off at 8 p.m. UK time on Monday. The game between Denmark and Russia kicks off at 8 p.m. UK. These are simultaneous games. Every single action in those games is going to have some bearing, to the point where a friend of the show, Egan, pointed out earlier that there could, I don't think it's possible now, but there would have been a set of results that would have meant that it would have gone down to the number of yellow cards over the course of the group stage. I don't think that's possible now that the game today ended 2-1. But it's we're in that point now where every goal matters. It's either if Finland draw, they'll probably almost certainly qualify. If Finland win, happy days, 6 points, qualify. If Finland lose, we're then looking at the other game, the Denmark-Russia game. Denmark currently have 0 points, have to win. They have to win that game. Russia could, again, they're looking at thinking, if the goal difference in that game changes, we're in this whole world, and we'll talk about it on social media, and if we can work it out over the weekend, maybe we'll do a blog post. But and then we're also in the permutations of first, second, third. Where does that go? And because Finland's group ends, I think it's the third group to finish out of the 6. So then third place team will have to wait until the rest of the groups are finished to know have they done enough. So we shall see. Keke.
So is there talking about permutations and all this other stuff? So is there, as in there was in the World Cup in 2018, is there a for those who are lucky enough to be top in the group, is there a scenario where Belgium might want to not finish top? I mean, they're going to finish top of the group now. That's a daft question, but which side of the draw they end up on and all that old business. Does that come into it? I mean, if they get less points, or are they more likely to field a weakened side against us, or how does that all work out?
I mean, the way is the winner of Group B will play a third place team on the Sunday, so they get 6 days rest, and they go into that game. The team that comes second in Group B will play the team that comes second in Group A, which is likely to be either Wales or Switzerland. And the team that comes third, assuming they're in the best third place, could face any of them. The way it works out, I don't know. But
I think France is the most likely for us.
Yeah, someone worked out that it'll probably be France, or the winner of that group anyway.
Yeah.
So
someone cleverer than me worked that out.
Exactly. So we'll try and put something out on the website over the weekend just to give everyone a little flavour. I mean, it'll be doing the rounds anyway. But I mean, we're in a completely unique position for Finnish football. Going into the final game, and this is the joy that in a 2014 tournament, you can't be. Well, I think that the chance of being eliminated after 2 games are minuscule. So whereas if this was a 16 or 32 team, quite easily go into this without knowing what you need to do. But we're going into Monday night going, Finland, chance of qualifying, could still win the group.
True.
Could come first, second, third, or fourth.
Yeah.
We don't know. So it's going to be tense. And I think Keke and I will be in the same pub watching the Finland game. I imagine one of the many screens will also be showing that time. It's going to be an interesting watch, a late night, hopefully not a late night horror for the chaps in Finland.
2016, Portugal did not win in their group. 3 points, qualified as the third best team, went on to win the thing.
There you go.
Exactly. Yeah. And Northern Ireland, they lost 2 games and won 1, and they got
Mm.
through as well. So it's precedent, isn't it?
Could
And
happen.
if we do get France, we're guaranteed for the next round because we all know how good we are against them.
Exactly. We've got form. Actually, we've got form against Belgium. I
Mm.
think
Yeah.
they haven't beaten us since the 70s.
Yeah. And obviously, as we mentioned, the Belgium was the game where Bobby, the Huuhkajat, made his appearance in 2007. So I wonder if there's a lot of Eurasian eagle owls flying around in St. Petersburg. It's not too far from Helsinki. So.
Well, I'll be keeping my eye out for boobies on that night in particular.
Yeah, I think we might be win or lose in the joys of West Kensington. We could keep a couple of pound coins for the pint glass on the way. Oh, producer Mark's gonna be having a fit when he hears this.
He will.
Yeah.
He will. He will. This one's just for him.
Moving on.
Leaves the kids alone, and this is what we get up to. We because this is a kind of short interlude. In lieu of half time, or well, to be honest, we're towards the end. How about we have a little chat and spread the word around some of our media? I was going to say another word, but some of the places that you can find what we've been doing. Mark, you've been busy on radio and in print.
Yeah. I was on BBC Radio Ulster after giving a report after the Denmark game, and then I've done a couple of print medias that turned up. I was actually also interviewed on Danish media, and I can't remember now what the name of the Danish news. Let's call it Denmark News Today.
Was that the same chap as Lasse's one, or was that a different one?
No, it wasn't. No, it's not Lasse Hjulber, he was DK News. But there was another one. So I was also interviewed for DK News, and then another Danish outlet, and then I did an interview with a writer who posted in the Guardian about it was previewing this Russia Finland game.
You wanted to make it sure that that wasn't your prediction in the bottom line.
I got like classically misquoted, so it was good. It was a nice piece that sort of mapped out the history, and then the lad, the writer said that a 3-1 win would see rapturous celebrations in Finland, which is technically true, but it's not A, something that I said, or B, believed that would happen. So yeah, distanced myself from that one.
Lovely. And yeah, Mark Wilshire's he's been everywhere, hasn't he?
Yes, yeah.
BBC 5 Live. He's now, I think, a regular contributor to BBC Radio Scotland. All over the place. He has. Terrible. Keke, where have you been spreading the word?
Nowhere. No, not really. I mean, I haven't been on any radio shows or anything like that. But as I said the other day, my favourite photograph did appear again in the Guardian and on the BBC website. So I'm claiming that one. But no, it's good to see the name of the Finnish football shows getting out there, and hopefully we can pick up a few more listeners and followers from your guys' hard work in the mainstream media.
Yeah, it's only taken 10 years to get on BBC News.
But you've been rich on TalkSport and BBC World and.
Yeah, so I did a preview. It was before the Denmark game, but they were asking me about the Russia match, and that was on BBC. It was BBC Sports Day, and it went out I think a few times on the BBC World feed. So seen by businessmen bored in their hotel rooms the world over. And I did a short preview for TalkSport 2. They did coverage of the Finland Russia game, and a couple of other bits as well. Some, section in the Athletic as well. So it's nice to nice to get the Finland, the various permutations of our name. They've some of them have gone a little bit funny, but I think if you type Finland football into iTunes, it still comes up with our podcast. So
good.
Get in.
So we've talked about the result. We've talked about the Belgium game permutations. How are we feeling, Keke, mood-wise?
Well, yesterday when we said our goodbyes, mate, I was understandably a a little bit upset, a little bit frustrated. But having had time, 24 hours to sort of settle and think about it, I'm feeling good. I'm ultimately I'm proud of the boys, what they've achieved so far. I think I think that they've all give it 100%. You can't really ask for more. I mean, Jere Uronen had a decent game yesterday, and all across the pitch, I think they give 110%. So that's all you can ask. That's all you can ask for. But I'm feeling good. I would have taken this at the start. This position going into the last game, as you say, with something to play for, and and up against the FIFA World #1 team with our decent historical record against them. So I'm still feeling pretty good about it. And again, as long as the boys sing their hearts out when the national anthem comes along and leave it all out on the pitch, I think we can go home happy. If we go home, we'll see.
And Mark?
Yeah, well, actually, I mean, my Copenhagen, this just in, so breaking news, my Copenhagen trip just finished. I don't have COVID, so that's yes. I mean, I thought that, but it's nice to get confirmation. That's good. I'm with Keke. I think both games we applied ourselves well. It's been fantastic to watch Paulus Arajuri sing the national anthem with a beaming smile on his face, like everything's come true. I'm happy with where we are. If we get something, we get something. If we don't, we don't. I think we'll be all right. Either way, we've done well. The tournament. But I actually do think, if I look at Belgium, I reckon we can get something. I think they will rest. The likes of De Bruyne had a long season. Eden Hazard is not 100%. After his injuries at Real, I think they might rest a couple of the big players, and that'll give us a shot.
It'll be interesting to see. Oh, sorry. Okay.
No, it's just wanted to, before we, I know we've got a couple of bits more, but I just wanted to say before we do disappear that yes, it's the 19th anniversary of the SMU Corps today. So those who are across our social media would have seen our posts earlier, but yeah, just wanted to give a nod to the SMU Corps, their 19th anniversary, and a lot of them are still out there in St. Petersburg waiting for the Belgium game. So hope they have a couple more good nights, and we'll see them again in the stands on Monday.
It's one of the good things, from the trips that have been made. I mean, the SMU Corps fans and those others who've travelled, they've really given a good account of themselves. They've made plenty of noise. From the videos and the footage we've seen, they've been good guests. Some of them have been a bit more eccentric. There's old Simmer with the mitre football on his head.
Yeah, quality.
It's good. I mean, there's not been a thunderclap thing like Iceland had or anything like that. But it's just nice to see people go over there, enjoy themselves. I mean, even if Finland have been beaten 5-0 in both games, and there'd been nothing else to write home about, they'd have still been singing. They'd have still been having a laugh. They'd have still been representing well. And it's, again, we see something that not many countries are quite so good at, but the bond between the national team and the fans. And we've seen with the megaphones and all the thing. It's a special link that they have. And the fact that Palolito and the Huuhkajat have been making a big deal about the anniversary of the forming of the SMU Corps as well, it just goes to show that. I mean, it's easy to share a picture, but it's a lot harder to get the fans and the players singing together at the end of the game.
Yeah, fair play.
Well, I guess, has anyone else got anything they want to? Well, how about we leave you with, just in case you're wondering, that Finland are focused entirely on international football. There are a number of domestic fixtures going on this weekend. Things never stop. I don't think they're not playing actually, but there is a full round of fixtures on Tuesday and Wednesday while we wait for the outcomes of the other group games. And I will not bore you with the permutations of the Conference League draws either. Well, I guess on that bombshell, how about we say goodbye? We'll go and watch the rest of the Holland game, and we wait till Monday with our eyes closed and everything crossed. Mark, thank you very much. Where can we find you on social media?
At FC Suomi.
And Keke?
You can follow me on Twitter at Keke Mulleri, and don't forget to follow the Finnish Football Show on Instagram.
And I'm Mitch. I'm at Escape to Saw Me, and between us, we all manage. There's the Facebook group, the Facebook page, the Instagram, the YouTube, the TikTok that I barely touch.
Our official website.
Our official website, finishfootballshow.com. We should really get. We sold a couple of T-shirts this week, didn't we? So.
Yeah. So get yourself posted online. Let us know. Where you are, where you're wearing your T-shirt. And just a word for our fantasy league as well. How's everyone getting on in our fantasy league?
I think I'm like 11th, but I've still got. I mean, I've got all my. I'm all on Ronaldo, so I've still got a couple of days before my money comes in.
Well, as we speak, David Alaba's conceded a penalty, so I've lost points for that.
I'm just saying that Dynamo Moolari are in the Champions League spots in that league, so I'm taking that.
Well, if you're listening, the winner does get an FFS T-shirt. So Keith, get your size in, your order ready.
Yeah, I've got them all already.
Good. All right,
Nice
chaps. We'll let's chat again after Monday.
Talk to you soon, guys.
Cheers, lads.